Hello, fellow Highland dancers and YouTube and internet and stuff. This is Jana with Deidre, my amazing Highland dancing monkey, and oh my goodness, it's been so long since I last vlogged. It's like Monday, and my last vlog was on Wednesday. Since then, I graduated. I had my actual, graduation ceremony. I did a dance, of course, I did a dance there, which was awesome. And also, I worked, today and tomorrow, and I went to church, and I had Highland. So, I mean, I probably had time to vlog, but I would have looked horrible, because I would be, exhausted, and I would be rambling on about nothing, because I would be exhausted. And don't I look beautiful in my work shirt? And also my, epic ponytail? No? Okay. So, I have topics to talk about other than myself dancing at my grad, which was so much fun, which everybody should do. You should homeschool so you can have a grad you can dance at. I have my list again because I liked that. That was fun. I liked my list. Made me happy. So, the first thing is practicing is confusing. Your teacher gives you stuff to work on, and you try to work on it, but how exactly are you supposed to practice? You warm up and you're sitting there questioning yourself if that was, enough of a warm-up, because you're your teacher's not there, and you're like, well, I hope this was enough of a warm-up. This is kind of the same warm-up we do in class. And then you go to your actual dancing, and, for me, I have a mirror, and then I put it beside, my brother's flat-screen TV, because it looks like I can see my reflection-ish. Because every time I do something and I move, I'm out of my mirror, and I'm like, ah. And then I have to actually fix things, and I always wonder if I'm fixing them enough, or if I should be over-fixing them in practice, or if I should be, not over-fixing them at all. And then I'm always, sitting there questioning, how much stamina work do I do? How much work do I do on my technique? And it's so confusing, because I try to make practice schedules and lists of what I'm going to do and what I'm going to accomplish while I'm practicing, and it's just I don't, yeah. I usually try to do one or two dances, at least one long dance every time I practice, but I'm like, am I supposed to be doing that? Especially before a competition. The week before a competition, I'm always convinced that I'm overworking myself and I'm going to be so sore during the competition, regardless of the fact that I never am when that happens. So, yeah. That leads me to question number 1. How do you practice? Do you have, a routine when you practice, or do you just kind of, warm up and then whatever hits you? Go through your notes. Do stuff. So, the second thing is extra private lessons. I have 2 extra private lessons before Scott dance. One next week, one the following week. Oh, no, this week, one next week, and then we leave the following week, which is super trippy because we're leaving for Montreal already, for Scott dance, which is insane. So I'm getting extra private lessons, which means that I'm officially going to be at Highland more than I am, anywhere else, per week, other than my own house. That means I'm going to Highland 4 times a week, which is, for me, I'm because at one point when I was having 2 classes a week, my extra theory class, I wasn't in championship classes at that point, so having extra classes is what? Yeah. And then the last thing on my list is 2-parted. One of them is when you do something really good and your teacher's or you think it was really good and then your teacher's no. Or they're oh, let's pretend I didn't see that. And you're so there's that. Hate that moment when it's I thought I did that so well. And then there's the other moment where you're sitting there oh my goodness, that sucked so bad. I wasn't thinking about what I was supposed to be thinking about, and my muscles aren't hurting, and your teacher's oh, that was really good, and you're no, it wasn't. Admit it, and they won't admit it, and you don't say that out loud because, you're trusting them and stuff, but it's so frustrating. So that's what I felt inspired to write on my list today. Also, Scott Dance is really, really, really soon. If you guys see me there, feel free to say hi. If anyone who watches this vlog sees me in person at Scott Dance, like, I'm not even kidding, if you tell me that you have seen any of my vlogs, I will actually probably hug you, and you'll officially become one of my favorite people in the world, because you're like one of like the 10 people who watch this. So, questions is number 1, the first one, do you have like a practice routine, and what is it? Number 2 is, are you going to Scott Dance? Because I am. And number 3, because I didn't know any other questions to do, what are you competing in the next little while? Like, not which competition specifically, but like, which dances? And are you excited for them? Are you dreading it? I'm dreading it. I'm going to a competition that has this 6-step blue bonnets, and I have to learn 2 extra steps of the blue bonnets, because I've never done anything other than my 4-step blue bonnets, so before then, I have to learn 2 more steps of the blue bonnets somehow. Anyways, this vlog is getting really long. I need to stop making this a habit of making them like 7 minutes long. Farewell, my fellow Highland dancers. I love you. Deidre loves you. Bye-bye.